Okay, welcome back to the Founders Table. This is where we sit down with leaders who are shaping industries and creating experiences that leave a lasting impact. Today, I'm joined by Gianluca, the president of Glasshouse New York City, one of New York's premier event destinations. With more than 15 years in the industry, Gianluca has built a career on excellence, creativity, and people-first leadership, which I'm excited to dive into. Under his direction, the Glasshouse has hosted hundreds of unforgettable events and grown into a $40 million a year powerhouse that defines what hospitality looks like in New York City. So I'm very excited to have you on the call today and dive into your story from Italy to Manhattan, and how you've led the city's most iconic event spaces into its next era of growth. So Gianluca, one, thank you for coming on. My first question is, you've had such a diverse journey from Italy to leading one of New York City's most admired venues. What first drew you to the hospitality and events industry?
First of all, Tony, thank you very much for having me today. It's a pleasure to be on your podcast. So yes, great question. I always been fascinated by the power of experience, how a single moment can connect people emotionally and leave a lasting impression. Growing up in Italy, hospitality is part of our DNA, right? It's not just about service, it's about to creating a sense of belongings. That passion followed me through every step of my career, from early day in luxury retail to leading large-scale events in New York City, like you mentioned.
I love that. I love that. And when you first joined the Glass House in 2021, it was right before the grand opening, if I'm not wrong. What was that experience like? What do you remember most from those, and what do you remember most from those early days?
Yeah, it was just a few months before the grand opening. And it was incredible mix of excitement and pressure, of course, because we are opening a world-class venue in the middle of the global recovery, right? After the
Right.
pandemic or throughout the pandemic. So there was no playbook for that moment. We had to build everything from scratch, team, processes, partnership. But what stand out is the energy, the people who believe in the vision. We didn't just open a venue. We set a new standard for what an event experience could be in New York. And 4 years later, here we are.
I love that. And one thing I'm really excited to kind of learn about too is, you've worked with major brands, right? What lessons do you think you carried over with you into your leadership approach at the Glass House?
Yeah, I work for a brand like Armani, Italy, and both brands, told me that excellence is the detail. Armani, for example, instilled precision and design thinking, how every element should tell a story. Italy was different, told me how to scale hospitality while keeping authenticity intact. Those lessons helped me and shaped my leadership philosophy here at the Glass House, right? Design with intention, deliver with emotion, and never compromise the human factor, the human touch that is very, very important.
I love that. And like, this is more a spontaneous question. Do you feel like authenticity is somewhat not touched upon so much in the hospitality industry as much?
Yeah, sometimes yes, sometimes not. Depend on the strategy, but everything, start from the top, right?
Mhm.
What the expectation set from the company, from the organization, from the leadership. But I think if you're authentic, if you are lead by example, you know, one day or another, it's gonna be successful or it's gonna make an impact on what you're doing.
Right. Makes complete sense. So for people who are listening that may not be familiar, can you share a quick overview of the Glass House and what makes it such a standout venue in a place like New York City?
Yeah, no, great. Thank you for asking that. Glasshouse is more than event space, no? It's a canvas for creativity. We're located on the heart of Manhattan, right? With a panoramic view of the skyline, the Hudson River, and every detail from architecture and technology. Was designed this place to transform the place for every occasion, no? So from corporate to social to every type of galas, the people behind the scene is what we bring life, passion, and excellence to every event in our space.
Got it. Okay. And so Glass House, and I don't know if I'm correct on the numbers, if it's more or less, but you guys generate roughly over like $40 million in annual revenue, and employ more than like 200 people. What do you think has been the key to scaling to that level of success so quickly?
Yeah, of course, 4 years ago was a dream, right? To achieve this number, and we start with a small group of people. Basically, it's been about clarity of vision and consistent of culture. We knew exactly what we want to stand for: service, innovation, excellence. From day one, we invest in people. Try to hiring the top professional, right? And empowering them to think like owners. We build partnership instead of only transaction. And we create a system that scale without losing the personal touch, as I mentioned before.
Mm, okay. And then I'm thinking more like for people who may not be too familiar with the event industry space, uh, what does it look like having like a team of people? Like what are some of the important roles? Because I feel like some people they might think, oh, it's an event space, it's just rented out to people. Like, what do you need a team for? Do you mind like touching on that?
Yeah, 100%. So it's not about rent for walls, right? It's a rent expertise. We have producer, we have operation people, we have AV expert, we have a designer expert. So we have a lot of people in our roster, in our company that can help and expedite and support the clients and give to them basically an all-in option and all-in support. That's very rare to find. Sometimes you need to find people from everywhere with different vendors. We're able to do this under one roof.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I can see how that really creates like a team dynamic, one, but also everyone's underneath the same vision. And my next question was
Yeah.
actually on you know, the event industry and like the experiences that are within the event industry, because it's all about experiences and this might be your answer for it, but I'm still going to ask it anyway, is what do you believe truly separates a good event from a memorable one?
Emotion. A great event needs to tell a story, right? Connect people, brands, and moment. You can have the best design, the best technology in the world, but if you don't make people feel something, it's just a decoration of an event space. At the Glass House, what we focus is on emotion-driven experience. The kind guest we remember long after they leave the building, right?
Right.
So you need to create an emotion in them and a memory. This is very important.
Gotcha. And like how do you feel like that's something that is kind of lacking? This is a spontaneous question, but do you feel like something is kind of that's kind of lacking in the event space is really focusing on the emotion experience?
I think it's getting there. It's getting better. A lot of venues, not just in New York City, but just around the country, are thinking more in that way than
Mm,
just to have a date filled with an events. I think the industry is going to the right direction, but you need to be consistent and you need to continue to pursue that path if you
right,
want to get good result at the end.
right. And then another spontaneous question: do you guys feel like you might be somewhat of like a pioneer in that sense, in that aspect of it, or maybe if not pioneer, like leading that charge?
Yeah, I don't think we're a pioneer because I think there was a lot of great people before us. They did that in some capacity. I think we just make better, or we with this group of leaders and with this group of professional, we are able to execute
Mm,
better than maybe was done in the past. Because execution is everything, right?
right,
Because again, you can have the best venue, the best place in the world, but if you don't execute properly, it's it's less important, right?
right. Yeah, no, it doesn't matter at that point. With if there's no execution in place, you just have a fancy idea that has no way of getting done.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay,
And this
so
can applicable be applicable on every industry. It's not just about events, it's in general.
right. And on the topic of like execution, obviously, who makes the execution happen is ideally your team, the people that, work with you and that you have underneath your leadership. So going into that with like a team of 200 employees, which is a lot of people, how do you maintain like culture, service quality, and I guess team motivation at scale?
I think we lead with respect, communication, accountability. So everyone in the glass house, from operation to production to cleaning company, everybody know they play a vital role in creating the magic for our clients, like I discussed earlier, right? We have a bit of culture. We recognize growth and share success is part of our DNA. So our motto is one team, one vision. So it's this remind us that we're stronger together. So every single person is a piece of the puzzle, right? So just it's not a tennis game, right? You play one against the other. It's just a football game or soccer game, as an Italian one. Working together was as a team is the best way to make this impact and a good success.
I love that. And this is more so, you're really making me come up with the spontaneous questions here now. The on the aspect, with teams and whatnot, it's very common in other industries outside of like hospitality to have problems with finding and like attracting talent. Is that like a constraint for your industry too? Do you guys go through similar struggles with finding talent?
If you talk in the industry, everybody say, "Oh, how difficult it is to find good talent." It's true. It's true. It's not easy to find a good talent, but when you find the talent, you need to find a way to keep them,
Mm,
and because they are the core of your business. So, yes, there is a recruiting process or there is
right,
a finding process that maybe is not easy. But after that, it's your job. It's your job as a leader to make sure the culture is there, their experience is there from day one. For the first day they come into your office, they need to experience what the culture and experience look like for them as well. It's an experience for them as well, not just for the
right,
clients.
right. And I'm thinking more as well for people that might be in like similar industries that may be listening. Um, do you is it common to have like retention or churn in like that style industry? And like if so, for other people who are listening that may be in similar positions as you that are just trying to get some advice, like how do you guys maybe like I don't want to say combat, but kind of navigate that aspect of just natural churn?
I mean, you need to, first of all, you need to lead by example.
Hmm.
You need to have the culture, the step on top of your list of your priorities. And just to go talk with people, listen to them. It's not always beautiful, everything is beautiful. No, no, every day is beautiful. So you need to listen to them. You want to know everything is beautiful and try to understand how you can support them. And basically, you don't need to micromanage people. You need to coach people. This is a slight difference, and everything is a domino effect, right? If you don't treat them well, it's a domino effect. You're going to spend hours and time and money to try to find the best of the best. No, you can use internal people, make them grow internally, help them to learn and grow. And I think this is the best way to try to don't be in the process of hiring every single day because
Right,
someone leave overnight. So this is what we
right.
try to do here. We are not perfect, but we try to do our best.
Of course. And you know, you talk a lot about respect, professionalism. Um, how do you build that kind of culture, such a fast-paced and like demanding environment? I feel like that's a struggle in itself.
Yeah. Again, it's a very simple. It seems like a very simple answer. It's by example. We need to make sure every single decision reflect fairness, transparency, and empathy.
Mm,
Like I said, we don't micromanage it. We coach. We give people the tools, the autonomy to excel. But we hold each accountable because they need to be each other accountable because respect is not something you demand. It's something you need to demonstrate every single day. So this is how we try to create a fast-paced environment and try to work with respect and professionalism.
love it. And you know, as a leader, there's definitely a lot of moments where, or there definitely has probably been a lot of rewarding moments for you as a leader. Can you think of any specifically when it comes to like watching your team grow? Any moments specifically that come to mind?
Yeah, exactly that. Seeing internal promotion,
Mm,
watching people maybe who start as a coordinator become a director. I think this is the greatest reward for people in my position. It means the culture is working. The people believe in the mission, and for example, the Glasshouse is a place where careers truly grow. Like I say, 200 people today, but 5 years ago, 4 years ago, sorry, there was 20 people. And those 20 people, most of them are still with us, maybe in higher position and maybe with more responsibility. This is, I think, is the most rewarding moment. Some people may say, oh, we did the top revenue this year, or we did the best
mhm.
income. No, no, no. To me, it's see people growing in the organization.
I love that because it's quite literally, I mean, I'm a big believer that the workforce drives the organization, right? Like you need, without the
It
strong
is.
team, without a team that's a part of your mission, like most companies go down and fall because of it. But moving forward into like the like challenges and strategies, hospitality industry has faced massive challenges over the last few years, especially with like, you know, COVID and whatnot. From recovery after the pandemic to involving guest expectations, what has been the biggest obstacle you faced in maintaining growth?
Of course, at the beginning, uncertainty, because the industry has to reinvent itself. Expectations shift overnight. The challenge was balancing resilience with innovation. We had to stay operationally strong,
Mhm.
continue to invest in technology, in sustainability, and our people, like I said before. But we came out together strong, I think, because we adapted fast and we stayed true to who we are. So just that. So it was, it was a struggling or was an obstacle, like you said, but we try to pass through that and stay strong together.
I love that. And this is a spontaneous question, but do you have any advice for, I guess, people who might be in, similar roles or potentially even people who are business owners like that when it comes to uncertainty on how to navigate the uncertain times? Because it's hard to kind of see into the future when everything just feels like it's crumbling.
Of course, there is no secret, there is no magic solution, but you need to work with your team. You need to trust them. You need to talk with them and find with them a solution. If you're a business owner, I believe it that you make decision by yourself. Sometimes is not the best option. I think you need to create a little committee, let's say, call it this way, and
Hmm.
help you to make certain tough decisions sometimes.
Hmm.
But it's better to have people help you out and get their opinions. And I think it's the best way to pass or just to pass through those situations, these moments.
I love that. Yeah, it's more so, I guess, yeah, like trusting the people in your team, letting them do what they need to do, and trusting that, everyone has a role that they're good at, and when we all work together on this role, great things can happen from it.
Yeah, also because you hire them and pay them to do their
Yeah,
job.
yeah.
Why don't let them do their job?
Fair.
And
That's a
otherwise,
great.
you
I
can do
love
it,
that. I love that point
right?
from it.
Yeah. So
Yeah, because you get a lot of CEOs, presidents, or people in high up positions. They want to micromanage everything, and that's such a great logical answer on you pay them to do this, let them do that.
yeah, of course. Sometimes you make a bad decision or you just, maybe you hire someone that look great in one way, but again, it's okay. It's part of the industry or it's part
Right,
of the journey, right? But
right.
let them do it and let's support them. So let's see.
Love that. So for at the Glass House, it's known for combining architectural beauty with cutting edge technology, which I think is really cool, especially as we go into, a technology driven future. How important has
Yeah.
innovation been to your overall strategy?
I think it's a core is the core of everything we do. From Wi-Fi 7 integration that we did a few minutes ago, LED wall and immersive AV through our company, Studio Production, our AV company we have. We see technology as a way to elevate the human experience, 100%. In the innovation, allow us to say yes to creative ideas that most venue will consider maybe impossible. So with all this technology, we can do it, of course.
I love that. And what would you like, what advice would you give to other leaders trying to scale a people first, service driven business in today's market?
Build the culture before you build the product. This is what I can say because your system and strategy can change, right? But
Mm.
your value must be unshakable. Hire for attitude, train for skill, and empower people to think beyond their job description, right? Leadership is not about control. I think it's about trust. And I learned that myself. So it's not just something I read somewhere. I read, I learned from my past experience.
Right. And that's such a very cool model that's not about control, it's about trust. And it just goes back to the aspect of you put people in certain positions and letting them shine in their roles, especially when they believe in it just as much as you do. So
Yeah, yeah, you need to do that in some capacity. You need to make your mistake, but you need to learn from that.
right. And so looking ahead, as we come down to like the last couple questions here, as you look to the future, because we're nearing the end of 2025, going into 2026, which is pretty crazy to say because it's 2025,
Yeah.
feel like it just started. What's next for Glasshouse? Are there any big goals, projects you're excited? Are you trying to expand the team? I'm trying to grasp the idea of how you expand past 200 people at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I think we are at capacity of the number, right? Because we
Yeah.
talk about one location only at the moment, so
Mhm.
it's already, I think we have enough. But I think we are need to just to confirm our operation, establish our business in 2026, and after that, start to looking around. No? We think about expanding the brand, new venue, exploring national expansion. But at the moment, it's more to define where we are at this moment. And to your point, 2026 is around the corner,
Mhm.
and create a fantastic 2026 in the meantime, thinking if there is any opportunity around there.
Love that. And lastly, what's one principle or lesson you always come back to as a leader, no matter how big the challenges get?
Never stop learning and never forget that the people who make success possible. This is very important because leadership is a service, right? My role is to try to inspire, protect, and elevate the people who represent the glass house every day. Because from from the top to the bottom, bottom to the top, we are all of us a brand ambassador of our company. So this is what we need to do. What I think my role needs to be done on this matter.
Love that. And so, Gianluca, one, thank you for sharing your story. Quite literally from like your journey to Italy to leading one of the most inspiring venues in New York City. Um, can people connect with you? Where can they find you? Do you want me to throw your LinkedIn in the description?
Yeah, I mean, LinkedIn is the best way to reach out to me. And Gianluca Sardo, you're gonna find in me quickly in there. I'm very active, so I respond to people. I love when people when send me a message and to ask for suggestion, to jump in a call. I don't have, my email hidden anywhere. I'm always available for people, of course. And time, it's important, but I always see if there is someone in support, to see me even just a suggestion. I'm always there. So LinkedIn is the best way to reach out to me.
Love that. I think, and for anyone listening who wants to reach out, this is how we exactly got on this call today, was I reached out on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So he is very
Yes,
active on there. He
100%.
responds. Okay, thank
Yes.
you again. For everyone listening,
Thank you, Tony.
if you haven't already checked out the Glasshouse NYC, it is one of the city's most breathtaking event spaces, and their work truly does speak for itself. Gianluca, thank you again. For everyone listening, we will catch you on the next episode of the Founders Table.